All right, good morning, agents. This is Kevin Lauren. I'm the Director of Training and Marketing here at Alta Realty Group. And today we're going to go over a grouping of really time-tested lead generation strategies that work every time. They require work, and some of them are expensive, but they work. So we're just going to go over these. Before we get into today's presentation, we are going to bring on Andrew Leone from Solar Reps. And before we bring on Andrew, we're going to bring on Bill Seitz from Clearview Mortgage, as well as our corporate broker. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Kevin. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm great. Beautiful spring day and ready for the webinar.
Heck yeah, middle of the week. Here we are, hump day.
There we go. Excited. And we're also going to have Debi Cecconi from Clearview Mortgage. She's going to come on and talk to us about VA loans. So we have a packed webinar today, a lot of good information. Any preliminary thoughts, Bill?
No. Yeah, this will be a good one. I think I talked to Debi yesterday. For those who don't know Debi, she's one of our mortgage experts at Clearview Mortgage, and she is also a Veterans Affair loan expert. So it'll be fun for her just to walk through the key points of VA loans. I know a lot of agents get kind of maybe they're not comfortable with them, or they're afraid to maybe take an offer with it, but Debi will be the one to clear all that stuff up, and why you should not be afraid of VA loans, and why you should consider accepting an offer with a VA loan.
For sure. So Debi, good morning. Is your microphone working? Are you with us? Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, Debi.
I know most of the time I'm talking, I'm like, oh, nobody's hearing me. So yeah, I have actually, I sent some information to you to hand out to all the agents. I'm not going to go over all of that information, but I will pull up just one portion of the information for VA loans. And let's see, do I need to click on share?
Yeah, you know what? Let me do this real quick. I just want to bring on Andrew Leone from Solar Reps super quick. He's just got about 4 or 5 minutes to just do a quick one, and then we will bring you back on. Is that okay, Debi?
Oh, that's perfect.
Okay, perfect. So Andrew, good morning. How are you this morning?
Hey, good morning, Kevin. Good morning, agents.
Yeah, so bring us up to speed. And we know that the program that we were pushing, that's now done. So we're excited to hear, what is in store for Solar Reps going forward. There's still plenty of opportunity, right?
There is still plenty of opportunity there. Let me see if I could share the screen here.
Yeah, let me stop my share. You should be able to share now. All right, perfect. We are rocking and rolling.
All right, so the news we've been talking about up until now was that NEM 3.0 was going to kick in April 14th. Again, like you mentioned, that was the legislation that was going to make it very difficult for homeowners to go solar from here on out. So the industry was in a bit of a shambles there for a second. So although NEM 2.0 coming to an end, that was bad news for homeowners, a few items of good news have emerged out of this. So let me get to that. Good news number one, some of the utility companies, such as LADWP, which is Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, they have announced they're not going to be participating in NEM 3.0. So this is terrific news for you guys that have homeowners in the LA area. In fact, the consumer base for LADWP, that's about 1 million homes there. There's about 4 million people in that area, which makes it the largest utility company in the US. So that's still a huge market locally that is not going to be affected by NEM 3.0. So all the homes in that jurisdiction will continue to enjoy getting the full credit for all the solar power that they produce. So let's keep those referrals rolling in as usual for the LA area. There will be no adjustment to make there for the Solar Savers program, and also a few other cities which kind of act as their own jurisdictions here and there. such as Anaheim, Colton. There's a few of them just kind of sprinkled around the state that are also not going to be participating in that. So that's some excellent news there. So here is good news number 2. As you know, we've been working like mad to come up with a workaround for NEM 3.0 in the other areas that are serviced by Southern Cal Edison, other areas in California by PG&E, SDG&E. So I'm pleased to announce we've come up with a workaround for all of California. So the workaround involves something called a shift battery. And without getting too technical, you know, the reason NEM 3.0 was so bad for homeowners, we went over this before, is because the energy that you weren't using right then and there on the spot, that was going to pass into the grid, and they're going to keep 25% of that. Or actually, you'll only get back 25% of that, which was bad news here. So how the shift battery combats this is it becomes the go-to energy source that you shift into before you start tapping into the grid for usage. So basically, it's a battery that charges up in the day, and at night you draw power from the shift battery rather than from the grid. And the shift battery is cheaper than a storage battery. That's very important, because what we talked about last time is the price of storage batteries was very prohibitive to keeping solar on that economical level. So pretty much in layman's terms, we have a workaround. We're going to work a shift battery into every deal. This will keep rooftop solar viables in all of the areas of California. So let's just bottom line these 2 items of good news here. So the Solar Savers program will be untouched in the LA area. It's going to continue. It's also going to be continuing in all the areas of California as it has, with the caveat that we're going to work a shift battery into this deal. So that's although that will be another cost into the deal, we're still maintaining no out-of-pocket cost to homeowners. Okay, so nothing's going to change for you guys. All we're asking you guys to do now is just make an adjustment with your clients that their bills have to be slightly larger than what they've been in the past in these areas. So a good benchmark is about $300 a month. If they have an average bill of $300 a month, they're a good candidate. That way, even with the added cost of a shift battery included, we're still going to be able to maintain the same commission structure that we've been working with. As you know, that's $2,500 per deal. That's going to continue. Just be advised, we're going to target a little bigger systems than we used to do in order to preserve that structure. So what's changed is solar really doesn't make any sense anymore in those areas if they have, you know, for people on the lower tiers of the market, people that are averaging $100 or $150 a month for their electric bill, they're no longer going to be good candidates. This is for people who are planning to increase their usage. So maybe if they are paying $150 a month and they tell you, oh, but we're planning on getting a Tesla, okay, now I guess they would be a good candidate if they're looking at about $300 a month on the average. So in conclusion, this is excellent news. This NEM 3.0 was something that threatened to destroy the whole industry, but we've bounced back with the shift battery workaround. So as usual, you know, get back out there, get active in your sphere of influence. You have an excellent way to pocket this $2,500 for yourself for a short conversation. I'd like to say congratulations to Paul and Maria. They've been super active. They've had a bunch of deals in the pipeline, got paid on their first one yesterday. Charles, Randy, Keith, a bunch of you guys are picking up the extra money. Araceli. We've actually got more deals in the pipeline forever. So let's just keep it going, guys. And I'll leave you like I always do, Kevin. We're looking forward to cutting you guys some commission checks.
Heck yeah, Andrew, we love the commission checks. No, thanks a lot. Really appreciate you bringing us up to date. And, you know, nobody wants to spin their wheels or waste their time. So that new information of, you know, of how, you know, our target now is just shifted to a little bit larger price point, you know, or a little bit larger, you know, bill on your electric bill. Those are the guys that are going to benefit from this now. But great. Thank you very much, Andrew. And of course, contact Andrew, super easy. If you have any other questions, you can contact him directly.
Okay, thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome, buddy. All right, great. So now we're going to shift gears to Debi Cecconi. So Debbie, go ahead. You can take over the screen and away you go. but you do have to unmute yourself. Debbie, can you unmute yourself, please? Por favor.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Absolutely. Thanks, Debbie.
Okay, cool. All right. So, okay, so I sent Kevin this particular information packet to, to everyone. I'm just going to go over it really quick, but I'm going to concentrate on the VA just to let you know what's in this in case you want to look at it later, or if you have any questions, you can always call me. My information is on this. And just a quick background on me. I've been a loan officer for almost 30 years. It's what I've done my whole life. And aside from being in this industry, and of course it's an industry that we can all make, pretty good money, I find it to be really fulfilling, just making people's dreams come true. And when people ask me what I do for a living, sometimes I say that, I make people's dreams come true. Anyway, so in this report is the difference between a pre-qualification and pre-approval. Also, how soon should you get pre-approved? You really shouldn't be driving anyone around to look at property without knowing that they are, basically pre-approved or pre-approvable. We also have various down payment assistance programs, and you can see here that that the credit scores vary, income limitations vary, depending on the type of down payment assistance programs that we have. We have several, actually, not just CalHFA, and one that just came in with the lowest score of 600. The other thing is a little cheat sheet on wait periods for bankruptcies, foreclosures, and short sales, depending on the type of loan that you're doing. So, and then there's a little information on gift of equity. If you ever want more information, you can give me a call. And just a little bit of information on debt to income ratio, loan to value. Now, one thing about VA loans, because I've been in the industry for a very long time, back in the day, realtors would shy away from accepting a VA deal because in their mind, they're thinking, oh, this is going to take forever. And I will tell you that we can close VA deals in 2 to 3 weeks. And usually the ones that I work on, we are ready to, they'll do a 30-day escrow and we're ready to close in 2 to 3 weeks. So that's always a good thing. And that's actually on every single loan that we do, we're pretty much ready to close after 2 weeks. So one of the questions that people have is, oh, does the seller have to pay the veteran's closing costs? Not necessarily. Now, if the veteran has a 600 credit score, and by the way, 580 is the lowest, but a pretty low credit score, we have very little opportunity to get rebate pricing to pay some of the veterans' closing costs. In that case, we might have to ask for the seller to pay some of it. But in these larger loan amounts, the buyer is allowed to pay up to 1% of the hard closing costs. We're not talking about prepaids or prorated items. So on the larger loan amounts, that could be covered without a credit from anyone. What is the lowest FICO score? Pretty much 580. And it also matters what made their score 580 or 600. So we have to really take a look at that. And then what if they haven't used their VA eligibility in over 15 years? Believe it or not, I have one in process right now where the guy's 90 years old and he's never used it. But guess what? He saved that DD 214 which is a document in every VA loan that we absolutely need to check out what their eligibility is. So there's no time limit. What if they used their VA eligibility multiple times before? Not a problem. Another recent one that I'm doing right now, we're actually helping them work on a few things. They actually got an approval from another lender. I don't know if the other lender ever checked their certificate of eligibility, but when we got their certificate of eligibility, they were not fully eligible because they did have a foreclosure that was more than 3 years ago. But the lender, and it was Rocket Mortgage, the previous lender, for some reason, they put a 30-day late in 2022, which made it look like the foreclosure and the way the credit reports are coded, it made it look like the foreclosure was 1 year ago. So we hopped on a call immediately with Rocket Mortgage and the borrower. And we also sent them the property profile showing them, look, this property was transferred over to a whole new buyer in 2019. We're more than 3 years seasoning to be able to do the VA loan for this gentleman. And we're waiting for a letter so that we can get it removed from our credit report. So we will go out of our way to help clients get to the point where they need to be. And I'll tell you, if this other lender that was like an online lender would have helped these guys and they were in escrow, it would have been delayed because of this. So we just go the extra mile to make sure 100% every buyer is completely pre-approved so that nothing falls out of escrow due to the financing anyway. And then, can a veteran spouse or significant other go on the loan or on title of a VA loan? A spouse can always. If they want to, if the spouse wants to go on the loan or on title, they can. But if they're a fiance or a girlfriend or boyfriend, they cannot go on a VA loan. They would have to themselves be a veteran as well. And we've had that happen too, where we've had 2 guys that were veterans or a guy and a girl that were veterans, but they're not married. And we pick whosever eligibility is the best to use for the loan. So and also, let's say that, okay, so the fiance cannot go on the loan. Can they just at least go on title? No, they cannot. And I wouldn't even want to try that after the closing to try to add a fiance onto the loan because or a brother or sister or a non-spouse because VA could call that loan due and payable. So another interesting one, can a widow or widower of a veteran get a VA loan? Yes, they can. I've done it several times before. So they just have to, we just have to establish their eligibility, and they have to, of course, have the DD 214. And then also, can the veteran get a loan while they're still in the service or reserve? Yes, they can. So, in fact, I just closed one not too long ago where the gentleman was still in the service. So I don't know if you have questions outside of this little, guide, but don't hesitate to give me a call if you do, or if you ever had a situation that may not have gone through. Also, a lot of questions that realtors have is, oh, the appraisers are going to be a lot more strict. If a home is pretty dilapidated, or it's missing a stove, or it's got broken windows, roof problems, Yeah, they're going to be strict in that way. But if the home is pretty decent, I even had one, kid you not, I laughed and the borrower cracked up too when we got the appraisal back, because they were really, really scared that the appraiser was going to call out a few things. The pool was the darkest green ever. You couldn't even see through it. I didn't know that until I saw the photos, and the appraiser didn't say a single thing about it. Probably, if it was empty, then it's like a hazard, but at least it had water in it. And well, maybe because you couldn't see what was in there, it wasn't a hazard. I don't know. But anyway, so that would, and also another thing which is not on this list, a termite report is not mandatory on any transaction except a VA transaction. The only time it's not necessary on a VA transaction is if you're doing like a streamline refinance where you're not getting, they're not getting any cash out, and a termite report is not necessary for that particular type of transaction. It's called an EARL. So anyway, and then, there's other information as you go down into this report. And also, if you look at the last page, there's a YouTube address. If you type that in, you can see a lot of the other little classes that I've taught, and also a commercial that has been on TV. So anyway, if you have any questions, it was really nice. I hope you guys just kill it out there and have fun.
Absolutely, Debbie. Thank you so much for coming on our webinar. We really appreciate it. And Tasha Wilmore says, Debbie is awesome. Tasha is an awesome agent that works with Debbie out in desert. So that's very nice.
Hi, Tasha.
And Katya says, thank you, Debbie. Good stuff. Oh, quick note from Keith Powers. He says he had a failed escrow that appraised for $625K with a conventional loan appraisal. The current second escrow was with a VA loan. The property appraised for $650 by the VA loan appraiser. Very interesting. But very, very, I appreciate the note there, Keith. All right, so we are going to shift gears, and now we're going to talk about, I'm going to pull up my graphic here, 1 sec, and we are going to talk about a few different lead generation strategies that always work. They take work, they take discipline, and they take consistency, but if you work these, they do work. So little note here, success in real estate is never guaranteed, but there are certain strategies that always work. So I know some of you are struggling. This is a tough market right now. So if you're struggling to regain your business momentum, these are 9 strategies that can help you get your groove back. And this is a really cool quote I found by C.S. Lewis. It says, most people don't need to be taught, they need to be reminded. And I think that goes for a lot of what we do on these webinars. A lot of times we're just reminding you of what should be done. And that reminder sometimes gives us the impetus to actually go out and do it. So, these are some very effective strategies, and we will go through these. We don't have to belabor them too much. We're just going to be reminding you that these are effective strategies. Open houses, absolutely fastest way to regain some momentum. If you're able to, work an open house for an agent that has a listing, perhaps if you don't have any listings, open houses are a great way to get out and have a few of those real estate related conversations. We talked a few weeks ago about the fact that there was a stat that says 50 real estate related conversations can lead to one deal. So doing open houses, that gets you closer. You're going to have a lot of different real estate conversations with different people, and those are going to get you closer to your goal, right? So step 1 in the open house land is the pre-open house. So you have the ability to draw a crowd, and you can accomplish that by a couple of different ways. You can utilize direct mail, pre-open house direct mail to a farm area or geographical zone is great. Door knocking, fantastic. Social media, phone calls, all those things, at least 2 of the list would be, a way to accomplish, getting that word out for the pre-open house. The day of the open house, you can also maximize the opportunity by, getting signage out there, reaching out to the neighbors, again, promoting it via social media, do a boosted post on Instagram, Facebook, the day of, the day before. So that's kind of day of open house strategies. And then follow up after the open house. Wow, huge opportunity to contact people that you met, go back out to the homeowners, let them know, some of the things that were discussed in the open house, by, some of the people that came through. You can also just remind them, or if you weren't able to talk to them, you can remind them, hey, we just had an open house, and you can go ahead and, make sure that they know that. So other things that you can do for, afterwards is you can do a little bit of a video, you can do a kind of a video synopsis of, the open house, how it went, what the people there were talking about, attributes that they liked. All those little things are great. And then, of course, within 24 hours, you definitely want to follow up on the hottest prospects and make sure that they have all the information that they need. So, of course, once you've had this open house, everybody that you spoke to needs to be in your database, right? So they're going to get these automated property, emails that you can generate from your CRM. So everybody on program 2 has a CRM, and you're able to do that. So yes, open house is a great way to meet buyers and sellers in person, one-on-one, face-to-face. You can show the people your, your personality, how you work. You can win them over, right? So second great lead generation strategy is make sure you have your Google business page optimized. And not just, of course, claim your Google business page for your real estate business. And we do have several trainings on that topic in our YouTube channel. So if you haven't done that, go ahead and make sure that you have claimed your Google profile, and not just claim it, go in there and optimize that. And what that means is they're going to give you a ton of different areas where you're going to provide them with information. You definitely want to give as much information as humanly possible. So if there's a space for information that they're asking for, fill it in. And so a complete and accurate page gets 7 times more clicks than those with missing information on average. So answer every Google has, when you're setting up that account. So if you've already, set up your page, go back and, make sure that you've got all of those questions answered, even business hours and weird little things like that. You want to make sure that those things are filled out. Also, they give you the opportunity to put in photos and videos, put in all of it, put in photos of, past listing, put in photos of, your clients out in front with the for sale sign or the sold sign, all of those little things you want to put in there. And the more info you have, the more, boxes you're ticking for Google, and they promote your listing. So super important to get all that stuff, filled out properly. Next one is geographical farming, one of my favorites. So with your outbound marketing, it is way more effective to focus that in one geographical area. And that doesn't mean you're not going to take a deal, outside of that, but for outbound marketing, you want to focus in one spot. So that involves, selecting a neighborhood and making sure that everybody in that neighborhood is going to get direct mail pieces. They're going to know about open houses. They're going to know about just listed stuff. They're going to know about community events. You want to make sure that you are top of mind to the people in that geographical area. So make sure that all those people are in your database, right? So unbelievably important to have people in your database in a geographical area. And that could be a different list than your sphere of influence lists. And it probably should be. So, and then obviously consistency is the key. You want to be consistently providing information of value, whether it's a weekly deal or a monthly deal, newsletter, property updates, any of those things. You just have to be consistent. Next is buying leads online. This is expensive, but it works. So if you have a budget to buy leads on places like realtor.com, Zillow, all those things, and especially Google ads, I think that's the one that a lot of realtors kind of overlook. But buying leads on Google and doing Google ads, it's expensive, really expensive, but it works. And you're going to get people filling out the form. You're going to get in front of people, because when people look for real estate, they go to Google. It's just a fact. So being there is important. Expired listing campaigns. These are definitely a good thing for people or for agents to go after. Expireds, also for sale by owner. Those two are proven time and time again. You have to have a good strategy. You have to be consistent, but those yield results. Those yield deals. So those are really good as well. Just sold campaigns. Circle prospecting is basically just calling, all the homeowners around the home and letting them know, here's the information. This home just sold. It's, close to your home. It's similar to your home. It had these attributes. So you're, again, just providing some really good down home information for free, very valuable to the people around that home. So those are, I would say, the time tested and best campaigns that you can do to generate leads. And again, this is not something that I think, you guys already know this stuff. This is just a reminder, that these things work. This is how other agents are getting deals. And so I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. We want to talk about it. So Bill, if you are still with us, any takeaways from our lead generation strategies webinar today?
As someone who did open house every single weekend for years and years, I do know it works, and it's most of the time it's free. So good signage, good, canvassing of the neighborhood to get people into the properties is an excellent way and a cost-effective way to speak to people. Like you said, if you're going to spend the 4 hours, 3 hours, 12 to 4, 11 to, 1 to 5, whatever it is, that's your chance to have conversations. And if you're going to, if you can designate the time to do it, you might as well be talking to people. It doesn't help to put up 1 or 2 signs and think you're going to get a bunch of traffic. The good open house agents have signs everywhere on every major street corner, on every major inroad direction into the property, and get the most out of their time. I see a lot of agents that don't do very well with the signage, or they only put out a couple signs, and it's kind of, well, what's the point if you're not going to do it properly? So I think that's a big one. Number 2 is there was when I started with Prudential way back when, and there was an agent, Todd Meridian, and he was new to the business, and he was new in our office, and he had a good chunk of money that he was willing to invest in a neighborhood. Kevin, you familiar with this? Oak Creek in Irvine. And he made the commitment, and he made the basically the commitment and the time, and to brand himself as the Oak Creek expert. He basically invested, I think at the time it was around $40,000. As you said, some of these things are very expensive, but what happened in less than a year, he had made his money back tenfold by investing in that neighborhood, becoming the neighborhood expert. And he went on a 20-year run. I mean, I actually think he's still over there. I don't think he's quite the king of the neighborhood now. And he may just be kind of pulling back a little bit, but it works. And this, like you said, time tested, the stuff does work, but depends on what your capacity is for, doing this stuff.
Exactly. And which strategy are you going to go with? You don't have to do all these strategies, but you have to pick a strategy. You have to stick with it and be consistent. I mean, it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse, but I will never stop saying it. You have to be consistent in this business with whatever, lead generation strategies that you're choosing, because without that consistency, without that heartbeat, drum beat, it's too hard. It doesn't work. And you're making your efforts diluted. So,
yeah. Some people do other things, like Debbie mentioned on her portion that she had done a commercial out in her local market. Well, you're going to get a lot of views and a lot of people, and the phones are going to ring probably with some leads. A lot of different ways to do it. Like I said, the open house is one of the most cost effective because it just requires your time and a small investment and some good signage. So, there's all different ways to do this and to get leads and to get, like you said, get back on, let's see here on your first page, get back the momentum.
Get your group back.
Get your groove back.
There you go. Well, thanks, Bill. Appreciate your insight. And thanks, agents. There's a lot of you guys on the line today, a lot of new agents with us. So I'm really, really impressed that you guys take the time each week to come on these webinars, improve your skills, improve your knowledge base, and, becoming a better agent is how you're going to be able to, be more effective for your clients. So really, really appreciate you guys coming on the webinar, and I hope you guys can have a great week and a productive week, and we'll see you all on the webinar next week.